So guys, at this level, our chatbot is ready to answer to our questions. But what if we want to show it to users? What if we want to present it to stakeholders? To do so, we need to make it available or to deploy it. And to do so, we'll use FastAPI to deploy our chatbot as a FastAPI endpoint. At this step, I already deployed the chatbot. I will show you how to do so later. And here we have a Streamlit UI, which helps us to interact with the endpoint. What we have in the UI is a small description of our chatbot. I will show you how to do this with Streamlit as well. I've put some example questions like which hospitals are in the hospital system, what is the current wait time at this hospital, and many other questions. So let's try one of them. Let's choose this one. At which hospitals are patients complaining about billing and insurance issues? Let's copy paste this question and send it to our chatbot. And here we have our answer. So patients are complaining about billing and insurance issues at the following hospitals. And we have the hospitals and some complaints from the patients. And we even have information here about how the answer was generated. So here, for example, we have our input, we have the tool that has been used by the chatbot, and we have even some logs like invoking experiences, which is our tool, with this query. And at the end, we have the whole object that contains the query that we gave to the model and the answer that we've received. So the question that you should ask here is how all this is handled, how the different parts of our application are handled. So here we are using Docker Compose, which is actually the orchestrator of different parts of our application. Let's take a look at the content of our Docker Compose file. Our Docker Compose file contains 3 services, which are different parts of our application. The first one is Hospital Neo4j ETL. As a reminder, we used this source code to read data from CSV files and populate our graph database. The second service is the Chatbot API. As you see here, as information related to this service, we precise the path to the file to build the image and the .environment file that contains environment variables. And in this folder, we have, if we check it here, we have our Docker file, which will be used to build the Docker image. The second service is the Chatbot API. As a reminder, the Chatbot API contains our agents, chains, tools, and so on. And again, we precise the path to the Chatbot API, the environment file, and we precise that this service depends on the Neo4j ETL, which is normal as we've seen in the previous videos. We have one chain which is used to answer questions that need the graph database to be answered. Also, we precise the port used by this service. And last but not least, we have the Chatbot front-end service. This is the source code that is used to create our user interface. We precise the path to the module to build the associated image, the environment file, and this service depends on the Chat API service. Let's take a quick look at the Streamlit file. So here we import the library. We use Streamlit sidebar to put information in the sidebar. So here as a header, we have the about that I showed you in the beginning of the video. We have the small description of our chatbot, and we have the different questions that we might ask. After that, we have the title in our main page, which is this one. We have some info, what we see here, and we have the part where incoming messages are handled, including the history of the conversation and the explanation as well. The explanation is what we see here. I'm not going into details in different parts of the code, but don't hesitate to ask me in the comments if you have any questions. Now let's go back to our Docker Compose file. Once we precised different services that will be orchestrated by Docker Compose, we need to run and build different images. So let's do it together. Mine is already running, so let's stop it. You need to run this command, which is docker compose app build. I don't need to build because I've already built all images and I didn't change anything in the code. So I run docker compose app. Here my application is running. If I open Docker desktop, so here I have my application running. Here we have our UI up and running on the specific port that I defined in the Docker Compose file. So let's open it. And here we have our UI again. Let's ask another question. Let's take this one. What are patients saying about the nursing staff at that hospital? And here we have our answer again with the explanation of the answer generation. This is it, guys, for today. I hope you liked the video. I didn't parse the code in details this time because it's the same parse that we've already seen in the previous videos, except the source code related to the UI, which is self-explanatory. But don't hesitate to ask me questions in the comments if you have any. I will make the code available and I will put the original code of the source as well in the video description, and see you next time.